Welcome everyone to this ninth demo of RIPEstat. My name is Daniel Karrenberg. I'm the Chief Scientist at RIPE NCC, and I'll give just a few words of introduction before I turn it over to our mobile developer. Next slide, please. We use WebEx events, which gives you the possibility to do questions and answers as we go along. There is a Q&A panel in your user interface somewhere. I hope you can find it. And if you type a question in there, our panelists, which include myself, Christian Teuschel, and Giordano himself, try to answer as we go along, or at the least at the end of the demo. We can also have a live discussion at the end of the demo if you have a headset and have decent audio. We can actually also have a dialogue. Next, please. Just a short reminder of what RIPEstat is. RIPEstat is a service that we provide via a website that gives you access to all the information that we have about Internet number resources, autonomous system numbers, address space, and so forth. And what we try to do with RIPEstat is get all the data that we have from different sources, like the RIPE database, the routing registry, which is also in the RIPE database, our active measurements, like RIPE Atlas and TTM, and so on, our BGP routing measurements, the RIS, and also external data like blacklist data and geolocation data that we get, plus a lot of other data sets, hopefully in the future, also from academics and so on. And we put this all together in one place so that you can see all the information in one place, and you can put it in correlation to each other. What we're going to talk about today is the mobile application. Next slide, please. So we're putting together a mobile application, but this is just a slide that tells you about what we do, why we do these demos. We demo every 4 weeks, and we want to solicit comments and feedback here. We monitor the usage of RIPEstat, so you can actually look at the bottom of the RIPEstat webpage. You find a statistics button where you can see how it's been used, and we will adjust to the usage statistics that we have and to feedback that we get during these demos. If you're interested in previous demos, they're actually both minuted and archived on labs.ripe.net. Next. So I'll turn it over now to Giordano Dall'Ozzo, who is a trainee at the RIPE NCC, and he's the developer of this, and he'll talk about it and tell you about his work himself.
So hello, welcome. My name is Giordano Dall'Ozzo, and I am one of the developers behind RIPEstat. So this demo is going to be focused on RIPEstat Mobile. That is the application that this is a mobile application that offers an interface to all the data sets we present on the website in a way that is designed for handheld devices. So in a way, this can really leverage, the capabilities and the features of those devices. The next section is just a summary of the key features we will see. We'll start by giving some general information about the application itself. You can already see 3 links here. We have an article on RIPE Labs that you can read if you like. We have a support website for the mobile application. So if you have if you experience any trouble, if you have comments or suggestions, you can just refer to that website. And we have, of course, you can go on iTunes Store and download the application. We will describe the key role played by the raw data API that we publicly expose. We will also have a look to the status of the development process as it is now. And we will have also a look to what are the performance, because now we are experiencing some kind of performance issue related to very big ASs caused by the usage of the old API for the geolocation data. And finally, we will also list the non-functional features, non-functional requirements that we are willing to implement in the next releases. So the current version of the RIPEstat mobile application was version 1.0, but till yesterday night. But now we have a tiny update to version 1.01 with some small graphical bug fixes. So that was waiting for the Apple review process. So if you want, you can download it for free from the App Store and try it out. This is a universal application. That means that it runs on iPhone, iPod Touch, and iPad with iOS 4 or later. So now we are actually immediately skipping to the live demo. So I will just switch on the simulator, and we will run the application on iPad. Just give, okay, so that we can have a look to all the windows. Okay, this is the menu view on the iPad. You see that you have a left-hand control pane where you have controls and you can submit your query, and you have a bigger content pane where you will see all the charts and views that we want to present. So I think we are going to start with an AS number. Those are the examples. If you click on AS number here, you will launch the queries. Okay, the first panel that enters the screen is the default one that shows the whois information about the AS or the prefix you queried for. Data is queried from RIPE database and from GRS data source. If you okay, have a look to, seems that it's too big for the screen now, but if you query for NAS, you can also see that in this tab control pane, you will have the import, multi-protocol import, export, and multi-protocol export for this AS. So resource information is instead a view that shows general information about the AS number or prefix you queried. For example, it tells you if the AS or the prefix is announced, the kind of resource, in this case is an AS, and the number and some information about the holder. So go on. The geolocation plugin presents the user with a map view showing the current geographical location of the prefixes announced by this AS. So prefixes located in the same geographical location are actually grouped. So if you click on a pin, you will be prompted with a view or with all the prefixes in this location, and you can of course just click on this button and you will launch another query with respect to this prefix. But we are not going to do that, otherwise we just lose the context. Very well. Okay, the geodistribution is a plugin that shows a thematic map that describes the number of announced prefixes per country. So it's actually using the same raw data that we used for the geolocation plugin. At the bottom, countries are actually sorted according to the number of the corresponding prefixes. In this case, we have just prefixes in the Netherlands, so it's pretty simple. In order to display the information in a readable way, we use a logarithmic scale to modify the proportion of the width of the countries on the bottom side. So if you query for ASs that are placed in different locations, you will see the difference, and you will be able to see even countries that have a very small amount of prefixes this way. Okay, the originated prefixes plugin shows instead the list of IPv6 and IPv4 prefixes announced by this AS. So the information here comes from the RIS, and you will see information about the last 2 weeks, ordered according to the last seen date. We are also willing to provide some sort of controls, like an start and end date, so that you can actually query for a specific time frame. Okay, prefix evolution shows that a function of time, the evolution of the number of prefixes originated by this AS. Of course, you can always select an area on the screen and then zoom, and eventually by tapping on the screen, access the punctual value, the numeric value associated to these coordinates on the screen. You can reset the zoom and eventually just have a look to one curve per time. Very well. Prefix distribution is essentially a donut chart. That means that we have two donuts, an inner one and an outer one. The inner one expresses the ratio or portion of the number of announced prefixes between IPv4 and IPv6, IPv4 in blue, Chan, and IPv6 in yellow. And the outer donut is instead showing the composition of the v4 and the v6 space in terms of, for example, how many /24s, how many /23s, and so on and so forth. Finally, this is the RIPEstat length that displays the radar or spider chart showing the minimum, the average without prepending, and the average statistics of the value of the RIPEstat length as it has been seen in the last 7 days by peers located where it is present. We have also to mention that this is actually not the current version of the application, because we are always adding features. For example, you can see that we are now this black bar on top of the chart, so that you can press this button, and what happens is that we will have screenshots of what you are looking at, so that you can eventually send us your comments, your ideas about this plugin, or you can just change the default receiver and just send this chart and your comment to your colleagues or whoever you want. Okay. I'll also give you a very short. We can switch on the iPhone simulator and query for a prefix, because we didn't do that before. Okay, so we can query, for example, one of the examples for IPv4. You see that it's slightly different from the iPad version, because we don't have all that space, and so we want to use the space in the best way, and we are not using 2 panels at the same time. So, for example, you can query for the prefix and see the research information. What it happens is that if the prefix is not announced, we also are showing the less specific and more specific prefixes related to this prefix, but now this prefix is announced, so we don't have any of them. And you can, of course, see the who is information. With respect to this one, we would also add maybe in the future the raw data, so that you can access them also on the iPhone version. The geolocation of this prefix, you can click on the top of it and eventually provide different queries. And the distribution, that is just in the Netherlands in this case. Okay, so that brings me back to the presentation. Okay, so just a second. Okay, well, yeah, the application is actually based on a public REST API. As you might already know, we also provide access to the raw data we are using to draw each of the views in the web application, so that you can eventually further process them. You can fetch them, process them for different uses. Of course, there is a difference between the data itself, the information hidden into the data, and the way we are presenting it. So if you don't like the way we are using to show the information, and you want to use the information for different purposes, you can just fetch the data and do the magic that you want. The easiest way to retrieve the data is by means, for example, of an HTTP GET request. So it is possible to provide several attributes, like, for example, a time frame, so that you can put an start and end date, and you will have the information related to just this period. You can eventually explicit the format that you want for the output. For now, we are providing output in JSON and YAML formats, but in the future, we are also thinking about providing an XML output. And it is okay. An helpful enhancement so far has been also added to the raw data API, because we try to make the output self-describing, self-explanatory somehow. So this way you can find the key value structure with associative arrays where the textual keys actually describe what the values are about. So you can just have a look at the data, and it will be pretty easy to understand the semantics behind. Anyway, unfortunately, this is still a work in progress, so not all of the views implement this enhancement, and so far we haven't yet versioned the API, so it might change in the future, and actually it's quite likely to change in the future. But anyway, the stability of the raw API is going to proceed, so we are working on it too. Okay. This is the status of the development process. The following are the plugins implemented so far. So we have 8 plugins for ASs and 4 plugins for prefixes. 4 new plugins for prefixes are also coming, and the priority of implementation of those plugins, the related allocations, assignments, blacklist entries, BGP update activity, and prefixes related to this prefix, can actually change according to your desire. So if you want to push the priority up and down, just tell us in the feedback section, and we will schedule it in a different way. Okay. So we have actually had a look at them, so I will not give you any other detail. Since the last demo, we have a new implementation of the geolocation plugin. The main difference on the geolocation plugin, on the new one with respect to the previous one, is that we provide, in a way, some sort of aggregation on the country level. So we will have at most 1 peer per country, not like the picture you are looking at now. In fact, the problem before occurred with very big ASs, because we had many markers on the map, which made, in a way, the map totally unusable. It was very slow to pan and to zoom into the map. The mobile version is actually not currently using the new data format, and therefore it is not behaving like expected, because it's not taking advantage of this kind of aggregation. But in the next release, we will have also the plugin aligned with the web version. Okay, some non-functional features are also coming, non-functional requirements. It will be, in fact, possible, like in the demo that you have just seen, to share the content you are watching on the screen by email with your colleagues, and eventually to use the same mechanism to provide us with feedback about each view. For this, in fact, start@ripe.net will be the default receiver, and eventually you can just change it. We will show a list of the last queried resources, so some sort of history. Probably only on the iPad version that can, of course, rely on a bigger size of the screen. We will also include a tool presenting a view, a tool presenting the data with syntax highlighting and indentation. It could not be possible on the iPhone version, because it's not really handy somehow. Moreover, a description of the methodology used in each view will be also included, like it happens in the web version. Okay, very well. That brings us back to the next and last section, the feedback section. But before we are going to start with your questions, I want to give you some ideas, maybe some ideas about what we could talk about. To get more feedback from the user, we thought about introducing the mail feature so that you can you can share the information, the graphs that you are watching on the screen without any effort. So you can actually give us feedback about which plugin you use more, you like more, and eventually the way you would like it to be. Some people could think that the interface for some of the views it's maybe too complex or it's not well designed. So if you think so, please tell us and we will try to meet your needs. And of course, you can influence the priority of implementation of the plugin. So just tell us what you need first and we will take it into account. Okay, that brings me to open the mic section. So for that, it will be better for you to have an external microphone, like for example, an iPhone handset. And so right now the mic will be open for your questions. So again, you can still use the chat feature on WebEx. That is somewhere. You can, just click on this icon, and or eventually you can press the microphone button in the WebEx panel and just wait until you get a microphone, and then you can speak. So right now the demo is open to your questions.
Well, okay, if nobody dares, I had one question about a new feature. Have you looked at the looking glass feature in the web interface? Because we heard in the feedback from the training courses and so on is that people actually like that a lot, to see the raw data or from the looking glasses. And do you have any ideas on how you might want to actually squeeze that into the screen real estate that we have on the iPhone?
Yeah, in this case, we have much textual information. So we should provide somehow a way for the user to maybe have some sort of summary representation of the textual information, and then eventually the user can just press on buttons or sliding view, so that all the information will be displayed on the screen just on demand. So it's some sort of navigation of the information. You just have an overview of the information, and eventually, if you're really interested, you can click on the button and you will see the information. But of course, there is the information is by its nature textual, so it's not really let's say handy for the for a very small screen. But if you want the information, you can, as I said, just press on a button, and eventually you will know that you can have a summary representation and eventually the longer representation. So it might work.
Okay. Any further comments? What would people like to see? Is this useful or not? Does it work for you? What could be done better?
You can click the small button.
You're still not muted.
Let me just add this one. If you maybe also have questions, you can use the chat feature. So I think before we had one user that was requesting the microphone. It was Matoa. So if you have a question, then I think we got another question from Georgia. It in a way went away. So I think the easiest thing would be if you just state the question in the chat feature.
Well, I'm not seeing anything, and I'm not seeing anyone requesting the microphone. So I think we're done.
Yeah. Okay, for me, it concludes the demo. That's about it for today. So thank you and everyone for being here. You can still submit your feedback and suggestions if you want. So we have many channels to do that. So if you want to go on the website, you will see that we have a panel to provide comments. Just use it and tell us what you like and what you want. If you want something to be in a different way, just tell us. So thank you again. See you next demo.
Okay, goodbye.